First time I ever ran this. Nothing to it. Morning. How's it going, nephew?
Pretty good.
Some nice boots you got, but you know what they aren't? They aren't area out work hogs. Hey Landon, that's a nice t-shirt, but you know it's not? It's not an area out work shirt. So yeah guys, we do have a partnership with Ariat now. So yeah, there is a link in all the videos. I've actually been waiting on these boots to get here until I mentioned it, but they've been there for a while. Use that link, you can get 10% off of your Ariat purchase. Got some boots. On that link there's a list of everything that we've bought. There's BJ's boots, there's my boots, these shirts. I love these shirts. I'm probably gonna be ordering some more of these. Very cool. So they're kind of like a mesh, but they're not see-through. When it's hot and humid, I love them. So yeah, if you need some new boots or work clothing, check out the link from Ariat. Now if you do order anything through that link, we do get a little piece of that pie, so you would be supporting the channel as well. So some people ask, does your wife have a job? What does she do all day? I gotta put that back into it.
Are we serious right now?
Hey guys, before we get to the fire part of this video, I do just want to say that we got extremely lucky. The house is fine. We are all fine. Tragedy was avoided. But this is what happened. I didn't get to catch a whole lot of it on film because we were busy. You'll see. Here you go. Well, had a mild monkey wrench thrown into the day. As I hear the sirens in the background. Kayla called me. Informed me the house is on fire. Got
The house is on fire.
a little crispy. But I think we're good.
So the funny thing is, after Kayla called Brian to tell him the house is on fire, Brian called me and Dad to tell us the house is on fire like we were the fire department.
I'd already called. The fire department already been called. I was trying to get the fire out before they got here. Jesus, as long as they took to get here, house would have been going.
You were super excited about it.
Well, we got the fire out. The house stinks now, but I think I'm gonna go get my hand stitched up because I cut it pretty good, trying to pry the siding off of the house. Of all things to cut it with, I cut it with a butter knife. Real proud of that, but it's down to the bone, so that's good. Hopefully they'll just glue it. It is right in the callus of my left hand. Perfect. Getting behind already, and it's not even frickin' 10 o'clock. So Kayla's insisting that we go now. I was kind of hoping we could just wait till, one of my buddies gets off work and they can just glue it. But.
Okay, so did you know when you call 911 and tell them your house is on fire, they'll say, okay, is everybody out of the house? Are all the animals out? Are you away? Everything good? And you're like, yeah, everything's fine. They're like, okay, I'll let someone know, and they'll hang up on you. And then the sheriff's department will call you from like an unknown phone number, and if you don't answer, like they don't know whether they should come or not. And then they kept calling me from different phone numbers, different places, like I don't know, departments in Chillicothe kept calling like 4 or 5 times, making sure everything was okay before they went ahead and sent a fire truck.
I'm glad the fire wasn't very big, because the house would have been in ashes before anyone got there. Yeah. But we do live in a strictly volunteer fire department area, so I'm not going to hate on them. I mean, I'm not a volunteer firefighter, so the way I look at it, if I wanted to fix it, I could help. Everybody, so this is a few hours later. Just got back from the urgent care. Got my hand glued back together. It was actually very fast. But anyways, here's what happened. Kayla was washing the siding on the house like we seen earlier. And for some reason, when water hit this outlet, this is one of the outlets it's supposed to trip, has like the little, what they call it, GSGI, or I don't know. Get down, Diesel. Either way, it did not trip. It just started smoking and smoldering. Fire department came. They said it never got out of the box. The breaker is off for this line right now. So, yeah, that's kind of what happened. I never actually seen flames when I was here. Now, whenever I got back, the siding there was all charred. It was very hot. It was smoking, but there was no flames. Kayla said before I got here, like I was standing in the middle of a bean field across the road looking at it, seeing if we need to replant it. Kayla said before I got here that there were flames shooting out of that box. I didn't see that, but at that point she was getting the kids out, making sure they were okay. When I got here, she was still moving the kids away from the house. So, scary moment, but all in all, everything's okay. Everybody's okay. So, yeah, could have been way worse. But now we're going to go back to work. I know one thing, when she called, whew, she said, the house is on fire. It's like, oh, the house is on fire. And she was like, yeah, the house is on fire. And then it clicked, like, oh, we need to go home. Kind of took me a minute to register that one. Now, someone from the fire department did get here, but by the time they got here, we had got the fire pretty much, we got everything put out, so got pretty lucky there. We do live in an area that is a volunteer fire service only, so typically when stuff like that happens, by the time they get there, I mean, it's a volunteer fire service, so it's not like there's someone sitting at the station. If we wouldn't have got it out, you know, the fire probably would have consumed the house before they would have got here. But, all right, back to work now. So driving over here to look at some stuff on this farm that we tiled. So this ditch is drying up. We put an 8-inch main right beside it with the intentions of starting to dry it out. When we come back to this project, we're going to be running 4-inch laterals across the ditch to drain this little field out front. Hopefully we'll be able to farm through that ditch next year. That's the plan. But this is the first time I've seen these beans. I wanted to check them before we get the planter out and start planting something. But they look good. In fact, they look like a really good stand. One of the better stands we've got. This was like the last field I planted, I believe, or one of the last ones. This corn over here, it looks good. Looks like it needs some nitrogen. It's starting to get that light green tint to it. Yeah, everything looks pretty good. There's a deer in our building. I wonder if it's like hooking up the grain cart for me. That's where the grain cart's at. Oh, there it goes. So you can kind of see the tile lines here. Looks like a pretty good stand in this field though still, so I'm happy. So I decided to go over to a couple fields I hadn't seen since we planted them. Glad I did, because there's those 3 beans or 4 beans right there, and then there's nothing else left at all. These beans were planted like 3 weeks ago, 3-4 weeks ago, and they're all gone. They've all been eaten. There's literally nothing left. Every now and then you'll see like a little area where there might be a few beans, but wow, that's pretty rough. Hey guys, this is a couple days later. So I rode around, looked at some crops. After that, my hand started swelling up pretty big and started going numb, and my hand started to hurt a little bit. So I went home. The next day was fine. I worked. You'll see that in a future video. But today I went to bone and joint doctor, and I get to have surgery tomorrow. It turns out I cut a tendon, so never underestimate a butter knife. But hey folks, don't forget to thumbs up the video, leave us a comment, and we'll see you in the next one.